Welcome to Betting Weekly Premier League Show. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Nigel Seeley and Jack Wright. The big news of the week, fellas, no Rodri for Manchester City, out for the foreseeable. A massive blow to City. What are the market makers made of it, I wonder? Before you answer that, it did get me thinking, which of the At Because We Win crew would be the most missed if out injured for an extended period of time? Nigel, who would we miss for viewers? Who would we miss for P&L? Who can't the team be with? Who is the Rodri of the At Because? Is it Shaw? Is it Sean? Is it Channers?
Rodri Trotter is Simon Holden. Rodri, the international football player.
Is it Nigel Seeley?
The all-rounder is
Steve
Steve Wiss. Steve Wiss is the all-rounder. No, Steve Wiss is the all-rounder. But I think the man in form at the moment that we can't miss on these shows, every time he does the live show, is James Easton. He's the man on fire. So James Easton would be my Rodri.
Jack, who's the Rodri of the team?
Oh, it's Dan. It's got to be you. It can only be you.
Of course
You
it's
are the
me.
glue.
No way.
You are the glue that holds
me.
us together. Hang on.
There's a list of CVs ready to replace him.
So it says on my script
Don't worry
that
about
Dan is one of the best hosts we've ever had on the Premier League show. I don't know who did the script.
You look like a Rodri.
It's
to be fair.
the on me ACL's gone. Now then, City's prize to win the title. I'm presuming it was all on Rodri. Maybe it's something to do with the charges as well, but I don't think it is. I mean, Jack. We did the show on Monday, and City were minus 112 to win the title. They're now plus 135. Arsenal are plus 150. Jack, I mean, is this all on Rodri? Are we over-egging this? Are the market makers over-egging it?
Well, it happened on that show. I messaged you, didn't I, straight after. So Sam, they didn't break about 20 minutes earlier. That would have made it a lot easier. But
might have got a few more views on the Monday show.
Well, could have done. Yeah, could have topped that. But it had to be because of that, because as I say, we were talking about it at that point in time, just as the news broke, and then suddenly the price is altered. So they've obviously put a massive amount of credence on the fact that Rodri is what makes Manchester City such a force. I think personally that's been over-egged a little bit. I'd understood a little bit of a movement, but not quite that drastic. That's quite a heavy move, isn't it?
I mean, it's massive, Nigel. City are a very, very good team. Does it matter? I mean, the win percentages drop a little bit if he doesn't play. The loss percentages as well. I mean, we can make a lot of this as bettors. How big a blow is it?
It's a massive blow, and I'll tell you, there's a few reasons why. The first reason is that he's so influential, as we've said there. The second point is the market never reacted as much to the Arsenal performance, I thought, against Man City. Arsenal was still 2-1 after that performance, and I thought that was a bit disrespectful because Arsenal already have been to Tottenham and won, have been to Man City and got a draw. Never moved much. The fact is now that they can't buy any replacements. This Man City side from years ago can go out in the next transfer window and buy two £80 million replacements and there'd be no problem. Nobody wants to go to Man City because they don't know what length of contract to offer them, because they can't give them any contracts. They don't know what the future of the club is at the moment. They're in a real big problem. If they get a problem to Haaland, they really are serious. De Bruyne is out. Obviously, I don't know how long for, but he missed that game. Could be back this weekend. I'm not sure. But I mean, he's coming to the end of his career. They've got no one. They can't. Their squad now was the greatest squad in world football. But now it's looking so heavily reliant on two or three key players, and there's no replacements because they cannot buy anybody. I spoke to someone in the start of the season, and he was saying that it was a disaster for them. They were going after players that the agents would not even put them in contact to Manchester City because they wanted 4-year contracts, 3-year contracts. They could be playing QPR next season. Why would you want to be a 3-year contract? I mean, it's joking.
Are you getting relegated, Nigel?
No, we're coming up. The thing is, though, it's amazing, though. So that's the problem for them. That's why they are the prices. Obviously, Rodri is a big blow, but they cannot go out and buy world-class players like they have done in the past.
He's not started 33 Premier League games since joining Manchester City. If you back the opposition those 33 times, if he's not in the squad, not in the 11, only on the bench, doesn't come on, whatever, he's not started 33 times, you're plus 927 up if you've backed the opposition every single time that has happened. Now, did our cuppers help you get a winner last week? Hopefully they did. The boys are in good form as they have been all season. We are in profit. Or did you decide to fade us? Whatever you're doing, let us know. Tag us in at Because We Win, and watch out for the Betting Weekly newsletter that's coming your way. Sign up. It is for free. Head to bettingweeklystudios.com and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Once again, it is free. Last week we had the head-to-head between the boys. Nigel, when Saints scored after 2 minutes, were you worried?
No, really.
We knew he was going to say that.
No. Well, I mean, to be fair, let me. You're giving me some credit here, but that was my only winning pick of the week. Jack nailed it, got us out of trouble last week. So, the head-to-head battle was one thing, but it's all about profit, and Jack produced a profit last week. But I wasn't that bothered.
I love it. This leads me on, or the previous conversation leads me on to our first game of the weekend to preview. It is the early kickoff on Saturday, 7:30 Eastern. Newcastle against Manchester City. Newcastle plus 420, City minus 167. So the big question, Nigel, for all of Premier League bettors this weekend, with Rodri out and all the stats that you'll see about his win percentage, lose percentage with City and so on and so forth, are Newcastle value on the money line at plus 420?
Yes, they are. They are value at plus 420. They're best. I'm looking at loads of ways to oppose Manchester City. Very, very close to making Newcastle my hot dog this week. Very, very, very close. But I just looked at that performance last week and it was so poor in that defeat against Fulham that I was worried about it. But then you look at Newcastle at home compared to their road form. They're a different beast at home. St James's Park is the toughest place, I think, to go to in the Premier League and get a result when it's rocking there. I mean, their home form, 2 wins already on the road. Haven't shown anything. 10 matches unbeaten at St James's Park. Going to go all the way back to January, and the team that beat them was Manchester City 3-2. I just think the early kickoff, the fact that it's a week before a Champions League fixture list. I know it's Bratislava on Tuesday night for Man City, which is probably their easiest assignment of the fixture list. But I just think it's all set up for a struggle here for Man City. They had all that ball, all that possession. They never really looked like scoring against Arsenal until right the last. That goal at the end, which cost me a fortune with the under 3.5. But it never looked like scoring. It just never looked like it. Foden doesn't look to me to be at the races at all since the Euros. They're reliant on Haaland. If they can stop Haaland, they can stop the team. I just got a feeling, that Newcastle could get something. I'm not going to bet them as my official play, but I think if I was going to have a lean on this match, which is what I'm going to recommend here, it would be Newcastle and a draw at plus 130. I think it's been a tough week for Man City. I think if they got away with a draw here, they'd be pleasantly pleased with that. So double chance, Newcastle on a draw, plus 130. I was so close to going for the hot dog on Newcastle to win it, but their form last week and their performance last week was so bad that it just couldn't really inspire me that much. But I do think Newcastle can get something from here. I think it's a good time to fade Man City.
Yeah, double chance like that one. Jack, just give us your money line thoughts and your lean, because your lean is away from the money line. But what do you think on the money line just generally?
Yeah, I can't really be getting with Newcastle at the moment. They're disjointed. There seems issues behind the scenes there as well. We saw them last week. That performance was worrying, and they've not played that well this season and got more points than they've probably deserved so far. So I wouldn't be taking Manchester City on that price either. So it's a tough one as far as money lines call. City have just got a phenomenal record against Newcastle, haven't they? 1 win for Newcastle since 2005. That's 1 win, 5 draws, and 27 defeats. So obviously, generally speaking, all runs come to an end. So could it be this weekend? I say it has got that early kickoff vibe about it. But I think Man City sneak it. I don't think it's going to be a whitewash. But so it's not really a market that I'd want to be getting involved in, either Asian handicap or money line, to be perfectly honest. But if I was putting a prediction on it, I fancy a 2-0 Manchester City win. That would be my play on that.
Yeah, you have got to lean away from the main markets here, Jack, haven't you?
Yeah, purely based on what I saw last week, really. I couldn't find anything that really leapt out at me. So I've gone for Savio de Oliveira to give an assist in this one at plus 380. It's a decent price. He obviously created that first goal with a lovely turn and through ball for Haaland against Arsenal. And the main problem for Newcastle last week was on Fulham's right-hand side. That was Traore. So kind of different players, of course. But in that area, it's a bit of a problem area for Newcastle. So at the prices, I thought that was worth a little lean and say at plus 380. So a nice price.
We've got 4 units resting on the next game, or invested in the next game here. This is Chelsea against Brighton, which is 10 a.m. Saturday. 3 p.m. local. Chelsea are minus 137 on the money line. Brighton plus 320. Draw plus 325. Since the start of May, no team has won more Premier League points than Chelsea. Brighton are unbeaten, though, so far this season. You can make a case wherever you want here. Nigel is going to make a case for his 2-unit play first of all, Nigel.
Yeah, I've been saying all season so far that I'm not really quite sure about Chelsea, and the market isn't quite sure about Chelsea.
But you are now.
Come to the conclusion. I think they're on the verge of doing something quite special this season. I really like what I see from Chelsea now. I think the manager's got them playing in a style and a swagger and a confidence that we've seen from Chelsea sides in the past. I think they've got goals all over the pitch. I mean, Palmer, Jackson, and Kunku come in the midweek. Got a hat-trick as well. I know it was against Barrow, but scores to that. Maduki as well has obviously got goals in him as well. A hat-trick earlier in the season. Just got goals galore. Goalkeeper's playing well. It was a problem for them, I thought, Sanchez, but now he's playing well. Defensively, he looks strong. And I'm not convinced by this Brighton side. I'm not convinced. I mean, they started off the season, brilliant, unbeaten. The manager got the Manager of the Month award, and I've always thought the Brighton are a side that I can never read right. If I oppose Brighton, they always let me down, and if I've backed Brighton, they always let me down, and if I oppose them, they always win. But I'm just not quite sure, especially in the performances. I thought they were so lucky against Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal were well on top till the sending off of Declan Rice, which changed the game completely. They got a fortunate draw there. Since then, a 0-0 draw at home to Ipswich. You would expect them to break that down. They were priced at minus 350 to win that match. They couldn't break down an Ipswich side who I think will be fighting for relegation. Then last week they played Nottingham Forest, a 2-2 draw. I know it's a good improving Nottingham Forest side, but that didn't really... The performance didn't really mean much, look like anything special to me. And I just think that Chelsea are just on the up and improving. And I don't think you're going to get prices like minus 137 about Chelsea against mid-table Premier League sides like Brighton. I expect Brighton to be around about the 9th to 12th position. I think they're going to start these kind of games at around about minus $2 when the market catches up with them. I think it's an early season move where we're going to get with a side that I just don't believe that the market has caught up with them yet. And I think Chelsea are on the verge of something special this season. I think they could push into the Champions League place. I think they could quite easily win a cup competition as well. And I'm very excited. And I think if you're a Chelsea supporter, you should be very excited about what you see on the pitch. Obviously, Pochettino was fired at the end of last season. Everyone thought that this is not going to work, but come in now. The new manager's come in and he's got them playing arguably even better in the start of the season. I thought they were excellent last week against West Ham. West Ham were poor, but they could have won by more. Played last season 3 times. Chelsea played Brighton last season 3 times, twice in the Premier League and once in the League Cup. All 3 of them resulted in Chelsea wins. And if you look where the 2 sides are now, I know Brighton are unbeaten this season, but I would say that Brighton are probably on a level. But Chelsea are definitely up their level from what they saw last season. So I'm going to go for Chelsea to win this. Minus 136 or 137. It's a little bit shorter than what I would usually play, but it is a 2-unit play. But I do think Chelsea will continue their good run and go into it. And also, it's a big time for Chelsea because they've got 3 home matches in the spin. So they got a match in the Europa League and they've got Europa Conference. They've got another big match, and before the international break. And then they come back from the international break with a trip to Liverpool. So I think it's right on. They really want to get some wins here and make a statement and push themselves up to the top of the table and challenge for those Champions League positions. I think they will here.
Fabian Herzl, of course, was sent off as well against Forest, the coach, so he will not be in the dugout at Stamford Bridge for this one. I'm never quite sure, Nigel, if it makes any difference if the boss is watching on or not. What do you think?
Nah, I don't think it bothers really too much.
Let's go to Jack's 2-unit play on this one. We go from the main market, the moneyline market, to a prop bet that I don't think we've had on the show, let alone this season or last season. Jack?
Yeah, well, I'm glad that 5-0 win against Barrow swung it for Nigel. I think that was very convincing. So it was good. Good, noted that one down. But
tell you what, shots fired there, Nigel. Go on.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. No. Chelsea have been looking good, and I think he's got that sort of settled side, and also they've got impact off the bench, haven't they? And they're keeping that squad happy. And when you've got such talent they've got, that is crucial. But I'm going in the offside market here. Bet Rivers revealed all their prop bets very early this week, which gave us an opportunity for the market to settle. I wouldn't normally put too many forward very close to the show because of the lack of liquidity in it. But at the moment, it's stayed for a couple of days, so I'm happy to go with it. if you remember a couple of seasons ago, Aston Villa were the offside bet I put forward then with Emery in his first season. Last season, it was Ange Postecoglou at Spurs. And now we've got Hertzler, who's come in and put Brighton with a very, very high defensive line. So I think this helps the fact that Chelsea have got their tails up, will be attacking this game at Stamford Bridge, and Brighton will defend it with a high line. Very simple to explain why I've put it forward. It's a cracking price. I had this line one offside higher, or if this line would certainly be minus money, in my opinion. So to get it at plus money is big. This isn't about Chelsea being caught offside. They've been caught offside 7 times so far this season, an average of 1.4 per game. This is about Brighton's way of defending. High line, catch opponents offside 23 times so far across their 5 games in the Premier League, is by far and away the highest of any side. It's an average of 4.6 per game. Every side they've played against has been caught offside at least 3 times. When you could cover all competitions, when they've played in the League Cup as well, that rises to 5.14 in all competitions. And again, every side's been caught offside at least 3 times. And I'll just run through it to say each game, what it totaled, and the numbers are quite incredible, really. Especially when you consider some of the sides that they played against. They're not possession heavy. They're not super attack focused. It started with Everton with 7. Manchester United was 6. Crawley, who are a third tier side, had 4. Arsenal 3. Ipswich 3. Wolves 9. And Forest 4. So all comfortably there. And as I said, we need 3 or more offsides in this one to cash at decent money, at plus money, plus 118.
Good stuff. Love those numbers. Over 2.5 sides, over 2.5 offsides by Chelsea, plus 118. The 2-unit play for Jack, and Nigel likes Chelsea on the money line at minus 136. So we are invested in the game at Stamford Bridge. Let's get across town to the Emirates. Another 10 a.m. kickoff. Arsenal versus Leicester. Arsenal very, very short in the market at minus 625. Leicester plus 1,500. Nigel, we sort of intimated, I think, at the top of the show that Arsenal would have won maybe against City if it had stayed 11 versus 11. Do you think that would have played out in Manchester?
Yeah, I think they would have won that. And I think they would have won against Brighton as well. I think they've counted themselves unlucky. The reckless decisions by players, not referees, silly decisions, and kicking the ball away, petulance has cost them maximum points, and that's the problem. And he's got to sort that out. You can't be giving away points. So I think they would have won if they kept 11 players. This match here, I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win easy. I think this could be anything. I really do. I think Arsenal will cover the handicap here pretty comfortably. 1.5 is the handicap here. Brilliant against City, I thought. I know the first half they to wait to go 1-0 down that early and come back and then go 2-1 up, and then take the game to the champions on their own backyard was showed you how much Arsenal improved. They almost got it perfectly. What else could they do? They only had one option, just to defend and to frustrate and try to get the clock down. They were so close to doing it. If it was an Italian side, you'd say it was the most genius performance ever from Inter Milan or Juventus, but they just couldn't get over the line and get that win. But they must have come out of that full of beans. I know they played well against Bolton. Again, yeah, there's a reserve side, kids, but that was a good performance as well. They didn't expect it to put 5 past them, but they did. Leicester come here with no wins. I still believe Leicester, on my ratings, are the worst team in the Premier League. They've conceded in every game so far this season. But again, talking about big runs coming into the international break, Arsenal has 3 huge home matches. They have Leicester, they have Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League, and then they have Southampton. And I think they'll cover the 1.5 handicap here. I think there'll be a lot of goals. But my angle on this bet is I want to bet a first goal scorer market.
This surprises me. You've gone not necessarily for the player, but where he is in the market. But go on.
Well, I'll tell you why I went for him, because Arteta said last night he was really praising him. The player who's in question is Raheem Sterling. He was playing him, said he was, and I think he's pushing for a starting place his starting lineup. And this is a perfect game to give him a chance. If he does play, I think he might play as a more advanced position, in that Havertz position as a striker. I don't think he's going to play like he's going to play up top, or much more forward line he has done for Man City or Liverpool. He'd be the main focus for the attack. And I just think that if he starts here, the plus 440 for him to score the first goal is a big price. Now, obviously, if he doesn't start and the goal scored before this match void, so if the first goal scored and he comes on and scores 1 or 2-0 up, then we've got to avoid bet. But I got a feeling that he might change it around and give him some match time here against a team that they're minus 600 to score. So I think if he does get named in the starting lineup, I think his price will shorten even more. if you look at him, he's Arsenal's most prolific goal scorer in the Premier League. I mean, he's got 380 games he's played, 123 goals. A lot of those he come off the bench. I mean, he's only probably started about 270, 280 games, 100 of them he come off the bench. Against Leicester, he's played 16 appearances, but he's made 13 starts and scored 6 goals. And I just think that he's a player that has got something to prove. I think he'll relish the situation that he's going to given a chance, and I think he might run with it because this is a good Arsenal side. They're going to create chances for anyone in that position. And, we know he misses a lot, but he does get the way they play Arsenal with the cut the ball back. He's going to be a threat. I could have gone for the Gabriel to score at any time or something like that, but I think Raheem Sterling will start here. So I think if he does start, plus 440 is a decent price. The other thing I was looking at with Arsenal as well is this defensive line of them is so strong. I mean, Raya was superb again. Gabriel and Saliba are unbelievable, and I was looking at them looking at odds to be the PFA Player of the Year. And if Arsenal win the Premier League, which they are very close to being favourites to win the Premier League, it's very hard to see an attacking. Havertz isn't going to win it. Saka could potentially win it, but Saka is 6-1. Declan Rice is 5-1, I think, to be the Player of the Year. Raya was 150-1. So Gabriel 33-1. I know you don't usually get goal scorers or defenders winning the PFA Player of the Year. It's usually attacking players. But if Arsenal do win this and set defensive records, which I think they could potentially do, and win it with this rearguard action that's so good they have, and Gabriel scores crucial goals, they're the wrong prices, those two. Real bad. They're crazy prices. Odegaard is still in single figures. He's going to be out for 6.
It's a really good argument, and it's one that I've heard before somewhere, Jack.
I went with the other guy, didn't I? Yeah, Saliba on Monday. Yeah,
Monday, Jack went for Saliba. And basically put together the same sort of thing. I mean, my argument against it is that, and Nigel, you mentioned this, is that defenders generally don't get it. We've not had too many. Van Dijk was the last. Prior to that, you're going back to the likes of McGrath and Gary Pallister and John Terry won it. But over the last sort of 30 years, you've not had too many. But you're right. If Arsenal do manage to win the title and it's based on that strong defence, then those defenders and keeper and David Raya are probably going to be back after missing out in midweek because of injury, so we'll see what happens there. So Sterling first goal scorer plus 440. I think you're right. I think he's got a great chance of starting this weekend. Jack, you like an Arsenal attacker as well when it comes to your lean. We should point out that it's Nigel's hot dog, of course, but you've gone for an Arsenal winger here, and it also buys into what you were talking about on Monday, doesn't it, a little bit?
Yeah, I put Saka up as a decent future at plus 700 to have most assists across the season. And I've gone in that assist market here as well. I've desperately tried to get Arsenal on side, but it is pretty much impossible unless you do take them on that fairly big handicap. And with that PSG game coming up, there is that chance they could be 2 up here and close this one out. So, Saka to assist plus 220 in this one is my lean. I think obviously open play. He's certainly embraced the kind of creative role that he's got in this Arsenal side now. We saw him tying Bolton's defence in knots in midweek. And of course, they have got the added bonus of him taking at least half their corners out on that right-hand side, swinging, and they're so lethal, aren't they? Exocet missiles coming in and Gabriel charging into them. And Leicester aren't very good at defending set pieces. They've got the worst XG against from set pieces in the league. So that will be a big threat. And you expect Arsenal to have probably, 75% of the ball, if not more in this game. Lots of chances, lots of balls going into the box, lots of set pieces. So I think Saka at plus 220 is a nice price against Leicester, who got booed off against Walsall in midweek. A team in the 4th tier of English football. So sums up, I know it's rotated, but sums up where they're at the moment. Not a happy fan base at all.
Just to go back to some anytime goal scorer prices that Nigel mentioned, plus 155 Sterling score anytime. And if you like Gabriel talking about Jack's corners and what Nigel was mentioning, plus 480 to score at any time. We have majored on the Arsenal game. I didn't realise that Harry was going to come back on the show, but he has. Thanks, Nigel. Let's rattle through the remainder of the 3 p.m. roundup. So we need some quick fire leans from the pair of you. Nigel, you can go first. Brentford, West Ham, what you got?
Yeah, Lopetegui, big problems, big money signings, no performances, terrible performance against Chelsea, losing 3-0, terrible against Liverpool in midweek, big problems at the London Stadium, but they are scoring goals. They scored 6 of the 7 matches this season they've scored. The only one they didn't score against was Chelsea. Brentford have scored in 6 of their 7 matches this season. The only one they haven't scored against was against Liverpool. Last season, 2 matches, 4-2 to West Ham and 3-2 to Brentford in the fixture. So goals in this fixture, over 2.5 goals. It's a 2.5 goal line here, which is quite unusual. It's a lot of 3.5 goals line. It's minus 155. Both teams to score, yes, it's minus 195. But a lean would be for me over 2.75 goals, which would be half your stake on 3 goals exactly, half your stake on 2.5 at minus 122 with Bet Rivers.
Nice. Jack, what you got?
Yeah, same thinking really. Lopetegui in trouble there. The Arsenal, West Ham fan base aren't happy. The players don't seem happy. He don't sound happy. So it's business as usual at the London Stadium really. In the replacement for David Moyes, it's a strange one, I think, to be fair. And he's not really utilising what they have got, and they do look in trouble. So my lean is our Brentford money line plus 120. I've switched it up because I think Mbeumo I put forward last week. I expect him to probably score again this week, but I've just gone with Brentford on the money line at home. I think they're a decent side on home soil against a West Ham that are struggling at the moment, especially after that thrashing last night as well against Liverpool. So, yeah, a money line play for me, Brentford plus 120.
Everton, Crystal Palace. Jack, what's the play here? What's the lean?
I've gone over 2.5 goals in this one, minus 118. The stats probably suggest it might not be the case, but Everton are conceding a good few. I just feel that Palace have got a good chance of scoring goals in this one. Say Everton have conceded a good few, and you look at Palace at what they've got up front. Eze had a couple of chances against Manchester United that he spurned, which is unlike him really. But I like what they've got in forward areas with Mateta and also with Nketiah as well. I think both these sides are a little bit wobbly defensively, despite that clean sheet. I think that was more, I won't say the luck, because it was down to the goalkeeper really, at Palace last weekend, and also Onana for Man United as well. So I think that they're both a little bit susceptible from set pieces, and I think there will be goals in this, in a game that you would suggest both would look to win. Minus 118 the lean, over 2.5 goals.
Palace are the favourites on the money line. Nigel, what you got in this one, lean-wise?
I'm surprised by that, actually.
Yeah,
Palace are the favourites. There was a bit of money for Palace over the last few hours, a few days, 24 hours or so, but Everton started off favourites here. I'm not quite sure if I agree with that. Two sides massively underachieving. Obviously, Palace have got so many players who've left the club. Everton just have this, aren't having any luck, are they? Scoring goals, but not holding on to winning positions. They've been leading against Bournemouth, Villa and Leicester. Palace no wins this season. Both sides no wins this season. 4 times they met last season. One of them was a 0-0 draw. I was at the match. It was the worst game of football you've ever seen in your life. It was absolutely chucking it down with rain, and it was dreadful. There's been a lot of 0-0s between these two sides over the years, so which way Jack said historically, and the stats might not prove that. But I'm going to go for a bet that has cashed in the last three Everton matches, and ones that they just can't hold on to the leads. But I'm going to go for them to score first. Everton to score first, plus 110.
Lovely.
Score that first goal, but might not hold on to the lead.
Yeah, I like that. That is a shrewd play. Forest, Fulham, quickly, Nigel, what you got?
Well, I think this is a quite a good match between two sides who, unlike the last 2 matches, they're 2 teams that have really, really impressed me. I mean, I've been quite keen on Fulham all season, and I think they've done brilliantly. But Nottingham Forest have done exceptionally well, unbeaten this season, 2 wins, 3 draws. Forest have got, we talk about them being a very low scoring side. They've been involved in a lot of under matches, but they've scored in every single match they've played so far this season. Fulham have scored in 6 of their last 7. Brilliant performance against Newcastle, 3-1 there. Both teams to score, yes, is minus 143. I can see that being popular. Over 2.5 goals is minus 106, which I would probably go towards over 2.5 goals, but no real sort of massive issue. But if I was going over or under, I'd go for the over.
Nigel likes over. Jack, you like unders?
Yeah, I am. Under 2.5 goals, minus 118. Again, I'm impressed with both the sides, really. I think Forest will look to contain Fulham. Fulham tend to be a bit stronger at home than they are away from home. And I can see this either being a 1-1 draw, actually, or potentially a 1-0 win either way. Maybe swinging towards Forest. But either way, all ends up, that comes to an under 2.5 goals game for me at minus 118 as a lean.
Wolves versus Liverpool is the 12:30 Eastern kickoff on Saturday. Wolves are plus 650 here, Nigel. Liverpool minus 278. The draw plus 450. Wolves were plus 370 to win this corresponding fixture last year, plus 290 the season before. Are Liverpool that much better, or are Wolves simply that much worse? Where are we pegging this one?
I've got to be careful what I say in case our Wolves supporter is watching me. I'll keep the Wolves from the door, I suppose. I don't think Liverpool are much better. I think Wolves have probably gone backwards. They've got the players, there's no doubt about it. Wolves have got the players, but there's something not right at the moment, and I don't know if it's the manager. I don't know what it is, but there is something not right at Wolves. And what price is he now to be the first manager to go? He was 20
to 1 last I looked. 6 to 1.
Is he still 6 to 1?
Yeah, basically it's Dyche plus 250, and then there's about 5 managers on plus 600.
Right. This is Gary O'Neill, obviously the Wolves manager. I mean, they're bottom of the table. No wins, hardly any goals, conceding an alarming rate. The fact that Chelsea went there and absolutely smashed them to pieces gives Liverpool huge confidence here. Liverpool minus 1.5 would be the logic bet, I suppose, at minus 103. Liverpool have Bologna on Wednesday in the Champions League, so it's not really I don't think that's with the win against Milan, they're in a good position there, so it's not like they have to travel. So then, talking about teams that might ease up, I don't think Liverpool would ease up really that much with Bologna. We've got goal scorers on the Liverpool side. We're looking at goal scorers here. I think you're going to either go for Liverpool on the Asian handicap or Wolves on the Asian handicap. You can't really play the money line, but you've either got to say, do you think Wolves can keep it tight, or do you think Liverpool will by minus 105? And I think the price on Liverpool is very low. I think it's more reflected on Wolves' bad form than Liverpool being any great. Remember, Liverpool got beat by Nottingham Forest only 2 matches ago, so at home. So I wouldn't be betting that. I'm looking at goal scorers. I think you've got to go for Liverpool goal scorer. I'm going to go for Jota if he gets a start again. Jota to score any time against his former club. He's got a good record against his former club. Going back there, I'll go for Jota to score any time.
That's the goal scorer for Nigel, just to lean on the game. Likewise, Jack, you got something similar, different player though.
Yeah, I've gone for Luis Diaz. He's had a stunning start to the season, and I think that Wolves' main weak area is that right side of the defence, where he'll be in that area. The kind of tweak to the system for Liverpool has certainly helped Diaz come alive this season, and taking him to continue that at plus 165. I think the matchup of Aït-Nouri versus Salah on the other side is an interesting one and a tight one. Aït-Nouri prevented him, or helped prevent Salah from scoring in both games last season. But in this fixture, which Liverpool won 3-1, Salah did provide 2 assists, one for Robertson and one for Gakpo. So that kind of left-hand side of the Liverpool attack is the one that kind of catches the eye. It's been a terrible start for Wolves. Tough start as well. They've had some really hard games, to give them some credit to that. But they are weakened. They've sold a couple of best players. They've had a couple of injuries as well. So they don't look in a good shape at the moment. They've not kept a clean sheet for a joint record 17 Premier League games on the spin, that alongside Southampton currently in the Premier League. So more of a tough afternoon again for them, but I think they'll try and go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, because they don't seem... O'Neill seems to want to kind of go out swinging as such, and they've, again, they're another side that kind of taken the lead but not been able to do anything with it. So I fancy Liverpool to win this one, possibly coming from behind, but scoring a few goals.
Ipswich versus Aston Villa is the Sunday 9 a.m. game. Early kickoff in the UK, early afternoon. Ipswich are plus 320. Villa minus 117 here, which might seem a little bit generous. Draw at plus 265. It's Villa's last game ahead of the Bayern fixture, which is a repeat of the 1982 European Cup final. Do you want quiz, Nigel? Quiz?
Yeah,
quiz? Who scored the winner for Villa in that 1982 European Cup final?
Peter Whiff.
Correct. Who was taken off after 10 minutes to make just his second Villa appearance?
Jimmy Rimmer for Nigel Spink.
Yeah, I tell you what, very good. Yeah, Spink came on. Just a second appearance for the
Now you're talking my era. This is like 1980s football. I would know all them. Manager was Tony Barton, Kenny Swain.
Yeah.
Gordon Cowns, Gary Shaw, Peter Whiff, Tony Morley.
Yeah.
I'd know all Dennis Mortimer.
Yeah.
I know all them.
Fantastic. Yeah, great win. I thought it was. Do you know what? I mean, Villa fans look back on that with rose-tinted glasses with me, because I remember watching the game and I thought, you've been looking to win that. Bayern had a goal disallowed late on. Bayern absolutely. I mean, Spink played an absolute blinder.
You've got to remember as well, what's my name? There wasn't many Nigels around when I was a kid of sports star, so Nigel Spink was someone I knew straight away. So there you go. There's another reason.
We have got a one-unit play back on, so an official pick. Nigel, what are you going for here?
I'm going for Aston Villa on the money line. I mean, I can't understand this price of minus 117. I think it's too good to be true. Villa are a very good side. I mean, they're very, very good side. They've got so many goals in them. I mean, every single game, barring the match against Arsenal, they've scored at least 2 goals in the Premier League. And in that Arsenal game, Rayo was the man of the match and they should have scored goals. I mean, they're a really, really good team. They're a Champions League side and they're being priced up here as like a sort of a top 7, top 8 side. Earlier on in the season, Liverpool went to Ipswich on the opening day of the season and Liverpool are minus $3 to win at Ipswich. And now Villa... Is there much between Villa and Liverpool at the moment?
Not that much.
Not much. Now they're minus 117. I think everyone's factored in this huge match against Bayern Munich, which I think, yeah, it is a big distraction. It's their biggest match they've had for years, Aston Villa. But is it that much of a distraction to make them minus 110 against an Ipswich side who haven't won yet this season, haven't really looked like doing anything or even money to get relegated? So impressed with Emery. So impressed with Villa. They've got goals from every position. He's got subs. You can bring Duran on to change the game up, like he did, against in the last match they played. I can't remember who they played now. They played 3.
The league game.
Yeah, they were 3. They won 3-1. They were 1-0 down. I can't remember last week. Who did they play last week?
Jack, who did they play last week? Wolves.
Wolves, yeah. They were 1-0 down. They brought on Duran. So they've got players who can change the game up. So they're not like they're relying on 11 players. They've got a big squad. He spent some big money on the squad. And I think this price has been so factored into this Champions League match that I just think it's got to a price where it's wrong. Like I say, minus 117. Villa, Ipswich no wins. Villa flying goals galore. Ipswich without goals, without really any goal threat. Very lucky to get a draw against Southampton in the late, like sort of last couple of minutes in that 1-1 draw last week. Drawn 3 of their last matches in the Premier League. I just think that Villa here are being disrespected by the market at minus 117.
I should point out that Nigel went -1 Villa last week in that Wolves game. That cashed on the lean as well. Similar thought process for you, Jack, on this one. Just a lean for you, though, rather than a
but this is my 1 unit pick, this one.
Yeah,
this is my
1 unit for Nigel, lean for Jack.
Yeah, exactly the same bet. Couldn't agree more. Exactly the same reasoning. Ipswich conceded the highest amount of expected goals per shot in the Premier League. That's not a thing to do against Villa, who have created the most big chances in the league alongside Liverpool, both with 21. They're now starting to take some. They were a little bit profligate at the start of the season, but they're now starting to take them in the most recent fixtures. So, yeah, for me, this is a very, very nice price on an Aston Villa win. Straight up money line, no messing around.
Big game on Sunday is at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United versus Spurs, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. United are plus 132 here. Nigel, Spurs plus 185, draw plus 275. We talked about United last week. They're favourites again here. Now, maybe they should have beaten Palace. I'm not saying that they didn't have chances. But against 20 in midweek, they were erratic. They gave a goal away. You can't trust them being a favourite in any Premier League game, I don't think, at the moment. What's your thoughts? And you've got your same game parlay on this fixture as well. Just give us your brief mony line thoughts, though, first.
Well, I think it's very hard to call because can you trust Tottenham?
No, well, that's
the problem, man. There are certain teams that you just think to yourself, Man United, Tottenham, they should do better, but you just can't rely on them at the odds, and that's the problem you've got here. You've got two teams you wouldn't really want to trust. I mean, Manchester United, it could be anything. It really could be anything. I mean, the matches between these two sides usually produce goals. On the money line, I'd probably sit on the fence and just have a small bet on the draw. I really would. I just don't think it's a fixture that I could really have much confidence on the money line. So I looked at it, and I was given the same game parlay responsibilities today. So I looked at this match, and I thought it was quite difficult. So what I've done is I've gone for a couple of three different outcomes to make a parlay up of 10.50. So this is bigger than 10 to 1. The game is a 3.5 goal line. So Bet Rivers are expecting goals. So I've moved the toggle down on the Bet Rivers website to 2.5 to give us a little bit of insurance there. So I've gone over 2.5 goals in this match. I do think there'll be goals. I think Tottenham will take the game to Manchester United. They won't be able to sit, they won't be able to defend, and they'll have to go at it because Tottenham will take the game to them. So I think it'll be quite an open match. So over 2.5 goals, I'm going to go for my first leg. My second leg is that Casemiro to be carded. I mean, if he plays, obviously, we want him to start in this match, be carded. He played 3 times against Tottenham in his career at Manchester United. In 2 of those matches, he's got a yellow card. So he's 2 out of 3, he's got a yellow card. You can actually bet him individually as a prop if he starts. I think it's a big price. I can't remember what it was now. It's around about 2 to 1. I think it's a big price given that he has been booked twice in the 3 starts against Tottenham. And finally, I'm going to go for Solanke to score at any time. I think that Solanke got off the mark last week. Last season, there was a famous match at Bournemouth where they went to Manchester United and he won 3-0. Solanke scored the opener. He was brilliant in that match. He should have scored 2 or 3 goals. I read the match report this morning when I was doing the research, and I think he hit the post, and he was a man of the match. He ran the Manchester United defence ragged, and I think that Solanke going back will cause Manchester United problems. So yeah, I'm not really quite sure on the money line. I've gone for a little bit of a bet there that I think there's a little bit of value. So I'm going to go for over 2.5 goals in the match, Casemiro to be carded, and Solanke to score at any time. Obviously, if Casemiro doesn't play, it's void. If Solanke comes on, and Solanke's not first goal scorer. If he comes on, if he doesn't come on off the bench, then it's void as well. So there are a couple of caveats to that, but I do think that give you a little bit of run for your money at plus 10.50.
Yeah, Casemiro just to be carded, plus 190. When the teams come through an hour or so before, obviously if Solanke not starting, Casemiro not starting, you can tweak Nigel's thoughts there. You can just have the 2 elements.
Just have over 2.5 goals. Minus $3.
SJP is cashed. SJP is in here.
Stick with that.
We've got the same game party from Nigel on the big game on Sunday. And we've also got the hot dog as well from Jack. And hot dogs have been profitable for Jack this season. What you picked out here?
Yeah, I'm going for an angle that Tottenham aren't the best at defending set pieces. And I've earmarked a player that seems to be the main target for Man United when they've got a corner or a wide free kick. And that is Matthijs de Ligt. And he's only had 3 starts for United in the league. And his last couple has really come on the radar as being a real threat. He's had 5 attempts at goal across those 2 games. 2 against Southampton where he scored. Both those attempts were on target. And then he had a little bit of a running battle last weekend with the Crystal Palace goalkeeper. And he had 3 attempts. All 3 were on target as well. So really impressive stats on that respect. And when you look at Spurs, this is a little bit of a perfect storm really, when the fact that when you dig into the detail of Spurs, they are pretty weak from set piece. And I think that comes from the fact that Vicario is a goalkeeper that gives you absolutely no confidence whatsoever. Any balls into the box, that he's going to be able to deal with them. So I think their defence is nervous when it comes to that situation. They've conceded 2 goals from set pieces already this season, which is the 3rd most in the Premier League. But that's only come from 5 goals conceded. So it's 40% of their goals, which is the most percentage of goals conceded being from set pieces. And what really kind of would alarm you is the expected goals, the XG on those chances from set pieces is the most, it's the highest in the Premier League. So they've given up very good chances from set pieces as well. So the most shot percentage, they haven't allowed too many shots at all, 39 across the season. 18 of those have come from set pieces. So it seems to be a real area that teams are targeting Spurs. And I think United in a game which I think will be pretty open. I think United will get their fair share of chances and opportunities. I think we'll see a fair few set pieces in the final third, be it corners or free kicks. De Ligt will be the main man to target. So over 0.5 shots on target is plus 230. And I think that's a really big price for him, given what we've seen so far. And that's my hot dog this week.
Monday night football, Bournemouth versus Southampton. Bournemouth minus 157, Southampton plus 390. All South Coast affair here in England. The draw is plus 325. Southampton getting their first point of the season against Ipswich last weekend. Maybe Bournemouth a little unlucky not to at least score in a 3-0 loss at Anfield last time out. And Jack, you've got your 1 unit play in this game.
Yeah, 1 unit on Bournemouth, -1 Asian handicap, plus 102. So another plus money pick on this one. I just feel they'll be too good for Southampton. Simple as that, really. Southampton are a side we've talked about that they are going to struggle this season. They're not going to alter their way of playing. And I think that could well lead itself into a lot of trouble against Bournemouth, who like to press. They are intense, especially in that final third. Southampton will look to play from the back through the lines, and I think they might get caught out a couple of times. They did against Ipswich and were fortunate not to get away with it before they even scored. That was very early on in the piece. And as you said, Bournemouth nearly took the lead against Liverpool. Semenyo again, who we flagged up a few shows ago, who is a real threat for them. I think he might have a field day against Southampton, to be fair, but he scored but disallowed for offside. So I think they had 19 shots in that game against Liverpool, didn't they? It was certainly a high number. So they're having lots and lots of chances. They're a very attack-minded side. At home this time, again, in a side, I think they'll certainly look at Southampton and go, this is a side we have got to go and beat. And I think they've been a bit unlucky. They were very unlucky against Chelsea, missed a penalty in that one, hit the post a couple of times in that one as well. And they just seem to just be creating a lot of chances and falling short. I expect them to take them chances against a lot weaker opposition when we're comparing it with Southampton. And as I say, I just feel that they'll go and win this one and win it well on Monday night.
Bournemouth -1 on the Asian handicap plus 102. Nigel, siding with anyone on the money line? Unders, overs? What do you think Monday night?
I think Monday night I'll be washing my hair. I don't think I'll be watching this match at all. I've got absolutely little to zero interest in this match. The one thing I would say is that it's a derby. Obviously, a lot of people in America might not realise it's a very, very close derby. There's a lot of love lost between the two sides. So that obviously brings in rivalries, which means cars could be on the menu. So that could be quite interesting. But obviously, certain states will have different cards to make sure you've got that market if you look at there. I know Bournemouth have been a bit unlucky, but I just think they're a side that have gone under the radar a little bit and how bad their results have actually been because other teams haven't had worse starts of the season. And they're struggling a little bit. Everyone expect them to do quite well this season, and it hasn't really delivered for them. If you look at this match in the Premier League, it's a funny one really because whenever they've played in the Premier League, the team in the last 4 matches, the teams that have been away from home have won. The last time they played in the Premier League, Bournemouth won at Southampton and Southampton won at Bournemouth, and the same thing back previously before that. So I don't think it's been a home win for a long, long time between these sides in the Premier League. You've got to go back a real long time. So that suggests that sort of rivalry might not be, the local rivalry might be important here. I was looking at the lines and this match and I was thinking to myself, why on earth is the draw plus 325? I look at the odds. I mean, draw prices are traditionally around about plus 250, plus 260. This one, plus 325. I thought that was just bigger than 3-1 the draw in a local derby. I just thought that was a little bit of a wrong price. So lean would be for me to take a little bit of that plus 325 to give me some interest. But it's of all the Monday night footballs this season, this probably will be the one that I will been looking forward to the least.
Yeah, might be one just to fill the quota when it comes to Bournemouth and Southampton for the TV paymasters. Great stuff, Nigel, Jack. Thanks for your company. Good luck to one and all. We'll keep everyone updated via our X feeds. Just a reminder of the boys' P&L so far on screen in profit for the season, as you can see. That is a wrap for Betting Weekly. Premier League show will be back next week for more picks, plays, hot dogs, same game parlays, live show every midweek day, 11 a.m. Follow us at Because We Win. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is free, of course, from all of us for now. Have a good betting weekend. We'll see you soon.